Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time we're taking a special request from one of our listeners and diving into The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah.
Ooh, I like this one.
Yeah, it's set against the backdrop of the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression. And we're going to explore this story of resilience and hope.
Yeah.
And before we jump in, just a reminder, if you haven't read it yet, you want to follow along with us. There's a free download link below this video.
Awesome.
So we first meet Elsa in 1920s Texas.
Yes.
And she's not your typical woman of that time.
Not at all.
She's got this yearning for education, a fascination with the flapper culture. It's like she's almost pushing against the boundaries of what society expects of her.
Definitely. And that conflict between her desires and those societal expectations that you mentioned, that's a key theme that runs throughout the novel.
Yeah.
It's almost as if she's straddling two worlds, you know? She's drawn to that modern, independent spirit of the flappers, but she's still bound by these traditional roles that are imposed on women.
And then there's her relationship with Rafe Martinelli. It's this passionate love affair, but it's also shrouded in secrecy.
Right.
So what's the significance of that secrecy back in the 1920s?
Well, back then, society's understanding of sex and relationships was way different than today.
Yeah.
Premarital relationships, especially those that led to pregnancy, carried a huge social stigma. So Elsa being forced to marry Rafe, that's a stark reminder of just how limited the choices were for women back then.
It's a tough situation, and it really sets the stage for all the challenges she's going to face later on. Speaking of challenges, we then see Elsa transitioning from this relatively comfortable life she had in town to the harsh realities of farm life. It's a drastic change. How do you see this transition impacting her character?
It's a pivotal point in her journey, for sure. She's forced to shed all the trappings of her former life, the flapper dresses and dreams of education, and she has to embrace just the practicality of survival. Yeah. Almost like she's shedding her old self and preparing for the hardships to come.
And those hardships arise in full force with the Dust Bowl. Hannah's descriptions are so vivid, you can practically feel the dust and despair.
It's really a testament to her skill as a writer. You know how she's able to evoke the sensory experience of this environmental disaster? The dust storms, the crop failures, the economic depression, all of it, it creates this overwhelming sense of hopelessness.
But even amidst that hopelessness, there's this underlying resilience. Particularly within the Martinelli family. They cling to the land, to their traditions, and to each other.
I agree. Their connection to the land is almost spiritual. It's not just a source of livelihood, it's their identity, it's their heritage.
Yeah.
And that connection fuels their determination to persevere, even when it seems like all hope is lost.
And then just when you think things can't get any worse, Rafe abandons the family.
The heartbreak.
It's his heartbreaking betrayal, and it leaves Elsa in an incredibly vulnerable position.
It's a devastating blow, but I think it also becomes a catalyst for her transformation.
Yeah.
You know, she realizes she can't rely on anyone else.
Right. She has to be strong for herself and for her children.
And that strength leads her to make a monumental decision leaving Texas for California. It's a decision born out of desperation, but also this flicker of hope for a better future.
It really mirrors the mass exodus of families from the Dust Bowl during that time, seeking a new beginning in the supposed land of opportunity.
Yeah.
But as we'll see, California isn't exactly the paradise they imagined.
Right. That journey west is just the beginning of a whole new set of challenges for Elsa and her family. And don't forget, if you'd like to delve into Elsa's journey yourself, we've got that free download link for The Four Winds right below the video. They arrive in California, this land of supposed opportunity, but they quickly find out it's not all sunshine and roses.
What struck you about Hannah's portrayal of the migrant experience?
The way she captures the harsh realities they faced, you know, fleeing the Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking and eye-opening.
Yeah.
They basically traded one form of hardship for another.
Right.
They had fierce competition for work, meager wages, rampant prejudice against Okies.
That scene in the store where Elsa encounters that dismissive clerk, it's such a small moment.
Yes.
Yet it speaks volumes about the social dynamics at play.
It's a perfect example of the larger societal prejudice they faced.
Yeah.
Just because they are migrants, they were seen as less than, unworthy of basic respect. The clerk's attitude, it's almost like a casual cruelty, dismissing Elsa's needs without a second thought.
And then there are the living conditions in the squatter camps. The novel doesn't shy away from depicting the squalor and desperation.
No, it doesn't. The lack of sanitation, the overcrowding, the constant fear of illness.
Right.
It's a stark contrast to that romanticized image of California.
Yeah.
Hannah brings to light the vulnerability of these families living on the fringes of society.
The death of Jean's baby in the camp is particularly poignant.
Oh, it's so sad.
It's a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of poverty and limited access to health care.
It underscores the human cost of these historical events. These weren't just statistics or abstract concepts. These were real people
Right.
whose lives were profoundly impacted by forces beyond their control.
And amidst these hardships, Elsa's relationship with her daughter Loretta becomes increasingly complex.
Loretta, with her rebellious spirit and attraction to Jack's ideas of social change, it really represents a clash between generations.
Yeah.
Elsa's focused on survival and stability.
Right.
She struggles to understand Loretta's yearning for immediate action and justice.
That scene where Loretta defies Elsa and attends the communist meeting,
Ooh.
it just crackles with tension.
Yes.
You can feel the growing divide between them.
It highlights the different ways they process and respond to their shared experience.
Yeah.
Loretta, fueled by idealism and a sense of urgency, sees the need for systemic change.
Right.
But Elsa, burdened by responsibility and fear, prioritizes the immediate safety of her family.
And then, as if things couldn't get any worse, the flood hits.
Oh my gosh.
Another reminder of how precarious their existence is.
The flood isn't just a natural disaster. It's symbolic of the relentless challenges they face.
Yeah.
It washes away any semblance of stability they've managed to cling to,
Right.
forcing them to once again adapt and rebuild.
And that leads them to the Welty farm,
Oh.
which initially seems like a safe haven, but quickly reveals itself to be another kind of trap.
The deceptive nature of that company town system.
Yeah.
Brilliantly exposed.
Yeah.
The promise of steady work and housing completely overshadowed by the reality of debt peonage. The workers are essentially indentured servants,
Yeah.
caught in a cycle they can't escape.
It's like they're trading one form of exploitation for another.
Yeah.
The novel really highlights the systemic forces that kept these migrant workers marginalized and powerless.
And Elsa finds herself caught in the middle of it all.
Yeah.
She sees the injustice, the exploitation, but she also understands the need to protect her family.
Right.
It's a moral dilemma that forces her to confront her own values and priorities.
And that internal conflict ultimately leads her to take a stand during the cotton strike.
The strike is a culmination of all the simmering tension, the frustration, the growing awareness that something has to change. It's a powerful moment when Elsa, initially hesitant,
Yeah.
finds her voice and steps up to lead the workers.
That scene where she witnesses Jack being beaten by the vigilantes,
Oh my God.
it's so visceral, so raw.
Mhm.
It's like that moment of injustice ignites a fire within her.
It's a turning point for her character.
Yeah.
She sheds her fear and passivity and embraces this newfound sense of agency and purpose.
Right.
Her speech to the strikers is incredibly powerful, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring fight for dignity and justice.
And remember, if you haven't read The Four Winds yet and you're interested in experiencing this story for yourself, we've got a link to a free download right below this video.
Yeah.
It's definitely a journey worth taking.
Yeah.
That cotton strike is such a pivotal moment in the book. It feels like the culmination of everything Elsa has been through.
Yeah, definitely. It's where her personal struggles, intersect with this larger fight for social justice.
Yeah.
She's not just trying to survive anymore.
Right.
She's actively challenging the system
Yeah.
that's exploiting her and so many others.
But taking that stand comes at a cost.
Yeah.
Farm owners aren't just going to sit back and let their profits be threatened.
Right. The novel portrays the brutal reality of that power dynamic. The vigilantes they hire represent a very real and dangerous threat.
Yeah.
It shows how far those in power were willing to go to maintain control.
And in the midst of all this turmoil, Elsa and her kids make the difficult decision to leave Texas behind.
It's both an act of defiance and a testament to their enduring hope.
Yeah.
They're choosing to walk away from a system that's failed them to seek a new beginning elsewhere.
There's this powerful sense of uncertainty as they head west,
Yeah.
but it also feels like they're finally taking control of their own destiny.
It's a beautifully ambiguous ending.
Yeah.
Leaves us with a sense of both trepidation and possibility. We don't know exactly what their future holds,
Right.
but we see their resilience, their determination to create a better life for themselves.
It's that enduring spirit that really resonated with me. It makes you reflect on the strength and courage it must have taken for those families to face such adversity.
Absolutely. The Four Winds is a powerful reminder of the human capacity for hope, even in the darkest of times.
Yeah.
It connects us to a pivotal moment in history while also prompting us to consider the challenges and injustices that persist in our own world.
So before we wrap up, I want to remind you that if you're interested in diving into the Four Winds yourself, we've got that free download link for you right below this video. It's a story that will stay with you long after you finish reading it.
What I find truly remarkable is how Hannah weaves together historical events with these deeply personal stories.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the power of fiction to illuminate the human experience and to remind us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, that spirit of resilience can prevail.
Beautifully said. And that brings us to the end of our deep dives into the Four Winds. We hope you found this exploration insightful and perhaps even a bit inspiring.
If this conversation sparked any thoughts or reflections, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below.
Yeah.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.